Hi everyone, it's Lima with Lace Covered Skies. I'm here today with flip throughs for two of these journals, which will be this one and this one. This flip through was done over on my TikTok. My name is Enchanted Paper Cottage over there. So if you want to check this one out, go ahead and search me on TikTok, Enchanted Paper Cottage. They are all pretty similar. Some things are different about them, but for the most part, they're similar. So I'm gonna do a detailed flip through of this one and then a quicker one of this one. All right, so I used a lot of different trims most of the trims are sari trims from Boho Tree on Etsy. I love her stuff. I have also included lots of vintage and thrifted fabrics from estate sales and thrift stores, and just anything I found in my stash. The back looks like this. And once this video goes live, these three journals will be available in my Etsy shop, and I have labeled them with these little charms. So this one right here is B, but they'll be in separate listings, so you can see them by their cover on the listing. All right, so let's go ahead and go inside. For this front page right here, I just kind of wanted it to be very colorful, vintage looking, some different textures. Here are two vintage labels. This right here is a vintage letter from 1950. It comes with an envelope as well as the letter. And these letters can be really interesting to read. Lots of digitals were used in this journal. The wallpapers were from TaylorMade Journals as well as Yana Valley. I love both of their wallpapers. And then I used various other printables. I'll point them out as we go along. This is from Masha Studio, I think. I will have all the Etsy shops listed down below. This is from TaylorMade Journals. This right here is a vintage seed packet, and I collaged on this tag right here for a journaling spot. Another vintage label right here, a vintage recipe card. I love these cards in the typewriting font. I really want to get a typewriter. This right here, that's part of a trim. This is avocado dyed blank index card with some stamping on it. And this right here is a tag from Adamo Prints. And I just kind of mishmashed a bunch of different patterns, colors. I just love doing that. And I don't even really think about matching. So it's just a huge mishmash. Okay, this right here is embossed, and it is cutting a little bit into the embossing, so please be aware of that. Okay, so hopefully it's not going to take too long with me taking everything out and putting it back in. I really love working in this style. I would say that it's fairly new to me, but it's really enjoyable. And then this goes right here. All right, another collaged card that I turned into a pocket. Here is a bottom tuck right here with a vintage label, And here is a label, vintage label. Love this one. This is from Tailor Made Journals, and I went ahead and I coffee dyed after I printed. So that's why it has these beautiful colors, and it looks really aged, and it's so quick to do. This right here, I love the crinkle. It is from parchment paper that I laid down while I was coffee dyeing in the oven. So I laid this down, and then I put the papers on top of this, and then I saved this. I learned that little tip from Diane over at Shawcraft One, and I am hoarding these. It just sounds so cool. Here is another vintage recipe card, and right here I took a vintage National Geographic magazine, and of course I use all the cool images, but for the pages where there was only like writing or typed words, I printed over it. And I believe this is from Yana Valley. And there's a bird page behind there. This page right here is avocado dyed paper with the top tuck. Some lace right here. Okay, I'm back. My alarm went off for my laundry, so I took a little break. This page right here is from a 3-ring binder from the 1950s. It was a Better Homes and Garden 3-ring binder. And I used some of my homemade tape to tape the piece on. And I really like that it's kind of sheer, because the only layer is this 2-sided tape and tissue. So it ends up being very clear, and you can see some of the writing through there. This is stencil copy dyed paper right here. Here's a vintage seed packet, an embossed card. This card actually belongs to this envelope right here, and I went ahead and I embossed it. And then this is just some paper that you can write on, or you could journal with. It's a tiny bit sheer, so it's really cool for collaging. Here is some avocado dyed composition notebook paper. I love dyeing composition paper. It's like thinner than normal paper, I think, and it just gives a really cool sound. And you can just cut the threads, and it's like a big long sheet. This is Tailor Made Journals Digitals, the French receipts, and I coffee dyed over it, and it gives it a really cool aged look. Here's some fabric ruffle right here, and I love how it bleeds through there. Pocket right here, some more vintage labels. Look at those beautiful colors right there. Here's another card that I collaged on, and I put some fabric on the edge with some more vintage labels in here. This comes with a lot of vintage labels. Coffee dyed paper. Love that. And this is that envelope I was talking about. I found it at an estate sale. I believe it's a vintage envelope. avocado dyed paper right there. Vintage seed packet right here. Avocado dyed index card. A vintage book page. And a collaged journaling card. Another piece of that 5-ring binder here, and you can see there how it's kind of sheer. I love that. So this one is the bee journal. I mean, the letter B, not the insect. This is a vintage greeting card and some little bits and pieces that you can either journal on or collage with. All right, now this side, this is from, I believe it's vintage wallpaper. I found it at an estate sale in this really old Victorian home, and they had wallpaper on their walls, and I'm guessing it was from probably when the house was built, because it looked all original, that whole house. It was so freaking cool. But they had leftover rolls of wallpaper, so I'm assuming it's from when they first moved in there. There weren't that many. I took what I wanted, but it's really cool to use it. I think that's the first time I've ever found wallpaper, I believe. So there's 2 pockets made from the wallpaper that makes up the center right here. Here's a pocket up here. Most of the blank pages in here were avocado dyed or coffee dyed, unless they were vintage book page. Here's a little ruffle right here with this textured fabric. Another collaged card. Coffee dyed paper. So all the blank pages I left blank for journaling, most of them. I wanted to leave a lot of writing space in here. Here's another pocket with a collaged card and 2 vintage labels. Here's another receipt from Tailor Made Journals, and I coffee dyed over it. I love the way that looks. I put some fringe trim right here. I love the way the handwriting bleeds through here. It gives it that really nice vintage look. I love how crinkly everything is in here. Here's a bottom tuck right here and a pocket here with a vintage label. And these vintage labels, they're a nice big size, so it's perfect for journaling. Another page from the 5-ring binder. Love that crinkle. Here is another vintage seed packet. Some more labels. And a vintage postcard. And I just love how that paper looks right there. Okay, I think this is tucked in here. Okay, so on the other side, there's a piece of vintage wallpaper along with I think it's a French postcard. I mean, flashcard. And I just love how that paper looks. I did some collaging on this side. Just looks so vintage. Vintage or antique. And here is a pocket right here. And I love how this back end paper looks. So there is a vintage recipe card. There's a little frame that I die cut right here, and a beautiful coffee dyed French receipt from Tailor Made Journals. Isn't that so pretty? And the thing I love about it is that you can't control how it turns out, like how the colors bleed, because not many of them had this yellow, pink, and green. This one just turned out perfect. But yeah, one of my favorites. And then I did a lot of just collaging different patterns and mishmashing them together. This is embossed down here. It's like a little belly band right there. And then a deeper one there that this goes into. And then on the end is some ledger paper. So this is a big pocket on the side. It's kind of a tight fit, so you really have to just wiggle it in there. Okay, let's see if I can, there we go. So that goes there. Let's see if I can remember how I put this. All right, that goes there. And then we have this, and then this. I don't think that's how I had it. Was this back here? I think this is back here. But yeah, so there's that journal. And let's do a quick flip through of this. It's pretty similar, but we have the front and the back. All right, so I'm not going to take everything out again because it's very similar, but you can just take a quick look at what all is here. Let's turn this way, I think. All right. So all the same elements, just with different papers. This crinkle, I cannot get enough of it, and I love that it shows through. The handwriting here just shows through. It looks so old, like really old, and like that romantic feel. Love this image right here. If you like crinkle, there's plenty of it in this journal. This is a pocket right here. So I mentioned before, coffee and avocado dyed paper. The only exception are some of the digitals that I used. I love how that looks right there. Just the orange right here with the pinks. They seem like they wouldn't go, but I love how they look together. Vintage greeting card. This one matches with this, the blue and the blue. Center of the signature. I just love this. But yeah, so if you want to see this one, go ahead and check me out over on TikTok. All three of these are now in my Etsy shop. If you want to head on over there, I will have a link down below. But I had so much fun working on these. I didn't put a closure because it just feels so good to hold it. I don't know how to explain it, but when I tried putting a closure on here, and it just made it too, like, you couldn't feel and hear the papers. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's just so chunky and cushiony and all that. So that's why I didn't put a closure. I tried a few different ones and I felt that it took away from it. So I just left them like this. If you want to add a closure on your own, you can of course do that, especially as it gets chunkier and chunkier, but I just love how it feels. And the way it's going to be listed, they will have their own separate listing, but if you want to specify, this is C right here. So the cover of C looks like this, and that's how it's going to be called in the listing. C for this one. This one is B. And this cover right here is A. But thank you so much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye everyone.